Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Postgame Show podcast presented by PointsBet. Use the promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Cubs beat the Brewers on Top Gun Day at Wrigley Field. 4 straight wins, and in the last 4 days, they are the best team in baseball.
I just saw your tweet, so that's why I'm laughing.
Number 51, Cody.
51.
The march to 63. I got to fix my microphone. It keeps...
I love that the camera is just focused in on you at this moment, so thank you for that.
Sorry, Cody. It's because... Look at the microphone going again. Woo. Anyways, Cody... my microphone keeps falling down.
I'm so happy that we
need
are
help,
here.
Luke?
This is just a
Need
great
some help?
start to the show.
I think it's working now. It's just going to be... Wait, hold on. Do we have the Top Gun music ready? Please don't call me Luke again.
Sorry, Maverick.
Sorry, Maverick.
There it is. I want that every time I walk onto the set now for the show.
It would be a
do
vibe.
that? Could I have a walk-in song?
Sure.
You guys start the show without, and then I come on, put on the aviators.
Absolutely. I actually would enjoy that walk-in.
I've got the need for Franmil speed.
Ooh, I got the need for Franmil
I can't leave him on the whole
speed.
show because I can't see a damn thing. It's so dark in here. We got the lights off because it's warm.
We are vibing for a podcast.
This is the way it was. This is the way it was. I don't, because it's going to start.
Show
falling.
Joey! Sorry.
Isn't that better than
Yeah, that's good now.
Where's Jack?
It wasn't holding. It
Jack
just
would
wasn't
be
holding.
so excited.
Jack R's here.
Jack R's here, but where's Jack?
Joel says, I just woke up from my after work nap. What happened?
Cubs win 8-7.
Man.
We're back, baby. 51 wins. Only 12 more to go to
Just
get
a
to 63.
dozen to go.
The march to 63. This team is vibing right now. Friday, 120. Homer's getting hit out of the ballpark by both teams.
Maverick on high alert.
Yeah, Maverick on high alert.
Thanks, Marcus.
Great game today, man. For a team that stinks. Today was a good one.
I feel good for Rachel, who came all the way from the UK, joined us yesterday for the podcast and
Absolutely.
saw Wrigley for the first time today.
Yes.
Got a 120 Friday win against the Brewers at Wrigley Field with like 15 flyovers. Got to sing "Go Cubs Go."
Yep.
First row at the bleachers. That's a good way to start being a Cubs fan in person.
She's going to take that memory back to the UK and savor it forever. Because the only thing I wish that could have been better for her is if the Cubs were good.
Right.
Right.
Like, hey, 4 straight wins. Hottest team in baseball.
Hey, that person who bet that World Series or placed that World Series bet, maybe they know something.
No, they're still an idiot. They're still an idiot. Yeah, it was a decent. Anytime you beat the Brewers, it's fun.
Absolutely.
It's like beating the Cardinals. It's fun.
Absolutely. And I said it yesterday. Like, the Brewers are kind of free falling right now. They were in first place in this division for most of the year, and since the All-Star break, they have not been good. They're not even. They wouldn't even make a wild card right now.
They were fine getting rid of Hader. They're not a realistic World Series team. They're not. They cannot win the World Series.
No, I don't think they will either. But they definitely had a better chance if they had kept him.
Yeah, although he struggled. I haven't followed up with what he's been doing since. I know early on he was not doing well for them.
Right.
Sean says, we are good, exclamation. It's too early for that, Sean. we got to save that a little bit. Although I will say Christopher Morel, 12th home run of the season as a rookie. It's the game-winning hit, and it's from a guy that I didn't even know his name 7 months ago.
Yeah.
I'll admit that. I didn't even know the name. I didn't know of him 7 months ago.
I had heard the name, but no one hyped him up as any kind of
You
major
certainly didn't
prospect.
think he'd have 12 home runs in August.
No one thought he was going to come up here and light the world on fire. And today was a big day for him because, I think I said in pregame, he'd been struggling a little bit. And not only does he hit the go-ahead homer to give the Cubs a lead, but he had 2 hits today. So hopefully it's a sign of good things to come. He's just so fun, man. Even when he's struggling, he's rooting on guys in the dugout. When Patrick Wisdom hit that homer, he's rounding third or rounding second base,
Right.
and the camera goes straight to Morel, and he's doing pulling the shirt down. Let me show you some chest hair, and like all the things like that make you really cheer for a guy, and he's just a vibe, man, and he is a very bright future for this team. I don't know if he's going to be an all-star or a superstar or whatever, but I think he has placed himself as part of some sort of nucleus that this team has.
I don't know what his ceiling is, and I don't want to give him a ceiling.
Right.
Okay? As a player, he's so young, I don't want to give him a ceiling of this is what he's going to be. I can give him a basement or the floor right now and he is a Major League Baseball player. Okay? He is even on a good team, he's got a spot on a team if he plays like this. So I think we know what the lowest is that he could be, and that's on the roster of a good team. We don't know what the peak could be, but 12 home runs in his first season. Now, why is the name it's escaping me, the guy they traded to the Rockies along with DJ LeMahieu. He got speared. He was a first-round draft pick.
Tyler Colvin?
Tyler Colvin had like 20 home runs. So don't freak out. But, again, this is a guy who's 22, came out of nowhere, and he does a lot of things, has a lot of versatility. There's no way you can't, at the end of the season, look at Christopher Morel and go, boom, exclamation mark on the season. Right. He's one of the exclamation marks on the season. There might be some Cody downtrending stock signs. He's 100% a stock up guy for the Cubs.
Stock up, man.
I don't know what to make of Patrick Wisdom. That 22 home runs for him we were talking about, we're like, slugging is so down around Major League Baseball. There's some value in a guy that hits 22 home runs.
Right.
He could get 30. He could at least get very close to 30.
Right. And I know that I've said in recent shows that, like, Patrick Wisdom, like, it bothers me that he's on the team because in a way he's kind of blocking some of these other guys. But also, I said before the deadline that I wouldn't be upset if they had kept him either, but that was with them thinking that they probably were going to trade Happ and Contreras. But either way, I said before the deadline that if they were to keep him, I would be okay with it just because he gives you solid defense, is versatile defensively, and he hits homers. It was something that this team really didn't have. And I know, like, he's such a streaky player in a way, and sometimes it can get really frustrating with some of his at-bats, but, hey, he had a big day today, and he has easy power. Give that guy a chance.
Yeah, it's like he doesn't even swing the bat when he hits it. It's not like when Javi would hit a home run, Javi would, like, swing out of his shoes. You knew he was swinging, like, as hard as he possibly could. I don't feel like Wisdom is that type of swing. You know, it's just like a smooth, he's a much bigger guy, obviously. I'm seeing myself on the YouTube feed, and I'm wondering, like, do I look more like a Fed or more like Maverick? Like a Fed or a... That's what I'm looking for right there.
There you go. Look at
So
Joey.
I do look like Maverick, and you do look like Goose.
If you're watching, if you're listening via podcast, you got to go to YouTube. This is hilarious.
Go to YouTube. You'll see. And again, I have not seen the second movie, so please don't tell me about it. Yeah. So Wisdom, I don't know where his future lies. Again, he's cheap. There's no reason not to keep him around. So I'm glad that they didn't move him unless they had some crazy offer, which clearly they did not have a crazy offer. So they have a guy under control that can play very good third base and will hit 20, 25 home runs again next year for you, at least.
Yeah.
Right? So that's not...
And like I said, plays defense, like
above
defensive versatility and is above average at it, and seems like a good dude. Like, there's nothing really about, like, I just don't understand how this guy never really got a chance with the Cardinals, the Mariners, the Rangers. I don't really. You look at his minor league numbers and, like, he did the same thing in the minors. He hit a lot of homers, but when he got to the majors, he didn't get a lot of chances. Like, this is the one guy of, like, the list of guys that the Cubs, gave a shot to last year after the deadline. The Frank Schwindells, the Rafael Ortegas, and all, like, that list. Like, he was the one that I was like, this guy, like, how is he not on another team? First round talent, and to me, he's played.
Cardinals gave up on him.
He's played better than I really imagined. Cardinals aren't really suffering from it. They got a guy at third base who's going to be in the Hall of Fame one day, probably.
True.
But Anyway, the thing is that the teams that that didn't give him the opportunity, I don't know. It just seems like like it wasn't a smart idea. Not to say that he's lighting the world on fire. I really just think he's just a really solid role player. I think he's if the Cubs are, make some moves and he's on your team next year, whether it's, platooning with third and first base and whatever, then I'm okay with that. Everyone wants to see Matt Mervis down in Iowa. Yeah, well, splits down there in the minors in general, in second, in Double-A and Triple-A. He isn't good against lefties. He's a left-handed hitter. So if you want to bring him up next year, let him platoon with Wisdom. Let Wisdom face lefties and let Mervis face righties. I don't know. I'm
Ease
just
him into the majors. Ease him into the majors.
Right.
Who said? Somebody just said. I think Niren said I look like Steve Cashel.
Yeah, he did. Someone did.
With glasses on.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Steve Cashel's a legend.
I think you look like Maverick. I mean, check it out.
I think I am Maverick. Today I am Maverick. Look at that.
Yeah, he's vibing.
If you're watching the YouTube, it's me with my fighter
I need this
jet.
vibe from Maverick every show because
I told you, if you guys give me that theme song when I walk in, it's a different attitude I bring to the show.
Don't be telling us to get off your lawn.
That's right. By the way, Nick Madrigal.
3 hits.
Nicky 3 hits.
Nicky 3 hits.
You also can, there have been some 0 for 4s. Every player's going to have 0 for 4s. You also can't say that since he's come back, Nick Madrigal's been disappointing. He's given you some of why you see the Cubs were like, yes, we'll take Hoyer and we'll take Madrigal, and it gives us something different than the previous team. And I'm not saying he gives you any pop. He's not going to get you home runs, but I will take a guy that'll give me 3 hits a game.
Absolutely. I mean,
I'll take a guy that'll give me 2 hits a game.
And it seems like the speed is coming back. I know at the beginning of the year, it felt like the guy was super slow because he just never would beat out any of these ground balls. But that first hit today, beating out, I know it was a tough play in general anyway, but he got down the line pretty quickly. He's had a handful of stolen bases since he got back. I don't know. I'm just happy that he's doing something because if he was going to play like he did the first 3 months of the year and then we're sitting here and he's still doing it, then we're yelling about Jed being awful. You know what I mean?
No. I see some hope in Nick Madrigal the last 3 weeks.
Right.
Since he's come back, I see hope in his future with the Cubs. I'm guaranteeing anything. I'm just saying I see hope. And I know it was Matthew in the pregame show, and also you were talking about it. I'm okay with leaving him at the top the rest of the season. Yeah. See what happens. Okay, if he struggles, then in the last week you put Morel or somebody else back there and whatever. But I am okay with seeing him at the top of the lineup. Top of the lineup or the bottom of the lineup. Either way, I'm okay with him being one of those two guys.
Right. So going into today, because Fangraphs hasn't updated their stuff. Going into today, Nick Madrigal, 278 batting average, 381 on base, slugging 333, but that's fine if he's getting on base at a 381 clip and he's hitting, around 280 or higher. 109 weighted runs created, so he's 9% better than league average hitter. Striking out 11.6% of the time, walking at 9.3%. Small sample size. It's only from August 4th until yesterday. Then you add those 3 hits today, those numbers definitely rose. He's been playing very well. You can't deny that he has been playing well or not.
Agreed.
He's been playing very well. And again, I still don't know if he should be our everyday second baseman going in 2023. But he's showing up like the player that he was with the White Sox and the player he was in the minor leagues and the reason that he was taken 4th overall and all of this stuff. So, yes, I would love to see more slug. I'd love to see more doubles. I would love to see, something of that end. But
I'd like to see him have more versatility defensively,
that too. I'd love to see that. But for what he is, for what we already knew about him, he is doing it right now. And so, again, I said a few shows ago, I'm not in, I'm not out. I need to see few months of it. So you got the rest of August and September.
But if you were putting out a stock sign right now on Twitter, Nick Madrigal,
he's going up.
Stock going up at the
Stock's
moment.
going up. You know what other stock is going up? Brandon Hughes.
Brandon Hughes stock going up.
2 saves in a row. And
on a double play, ending the game 2 games in a row.
It was impressive today because on a day like today, Yelich makes it to first to start the inning. And, you know, I'm not going to lie, I was a little, nervous because just the way that we'd seen runs scored today, it's like anyone who gets on, it's scary. And then Adames, he gave it a ride, and I don't know how it didn't get out, but it didn't happen. And then Tellez grounds out into the double play, game over. Basically what I'm saying is that Yelich getting to first on a play like that, Hughes didn't let that affect him. Still made the right pitches and
little pressure.
Yeah.
Add a little pressure.
I like it. I don't think he's the closer next year, but I do think he's a back-end, high-leverage guy. I don't really know who should be the closer for next year because we still need to see a bunch of other guys pitch. And you know the Cubs are going to go get some guys like a Michael Givens, not them in particular, but guys like them who they will just throw in there and they'll fix it, or if they or something like that, like they did David Robertson this year. All I'm saying is that Brandon Hughes is inserting himself or ascending, whatever. He's definitely putting himself in that conversation for back end of the bullpen next season.
He might not necessarily be an exclamation point at the end of the season, but he's at least a smile emoji.
Yeah.
You know, hey,
take
we
that.
feel pretty good about that.
26, another homegrown reliever. The Cubs are loaded with so many of them. Which is a good problem to have because you go through pitchers left and right. Absolutely.
And without question, somebody's going to get hurt.
Injuries happen. Yeah.
Niren's saying there's a lot of positivity on the chat. And by the way, if you're on YouTube, please go ahead and pound that like button for us.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. And appreciate everybody that's joining in. Niren's always there, and he says 2 weeks is not a sample size. Well, it's a sample size, Niren. It's just a really small one.
Yeah. I said, I'm not in, and I'm not out. I just want to see him continue to do it.
The stock is just up. Today. Right now, if you're one of those people likes to go stocks real quick, buy, sell.
Yeah.
Currently, you're buying.
Joel Martinez says Cody Hoyer's supposed to be the closer, I think. It felt that way. Well, yeah, going into this year, he probably would have had somewhere in that back-end reliever role. But, I don't think he's going to be ready for opening day next year.
No, but you also have to replace 4 relievers that you traded away. So,
you do that on top of the guys that they have coming up. There's a lot to be excited about with the bullpen.
Al's alive. If he comes back, might be. I saw the next question was just natural to go into the Keegan conversation. It's been 2 bad games in a row for him. Struggled a little bit.
Absolutely.
And I know there were factors. There was rain last time. There was wind this time. But, today, 3 2/3, 5 earned runs, 3 home runs, 3 walks. Wind doesn't impact that.
Right.
Last time was an inning and 2/3, 4 earned runs. The sample size of 5 starts, not as bad. 6 innings, 1 run, 4 2/3, 5 earned runs, and then 7 innings, no earned runs. So it's not like you zoom out so far that you go, whoa. I can't remember who was asking on the chat, but you were saying, is it time to move him back to the bullpen?
No.
I'm not ready to push that. I'm more in on as I was saying in pregame, the zoom out doesn't tell me to panic yet. But the zoom in on the last 2 or 3 games tells me he might not hurt from giving him 2 extra days off or letting Adrian, if Miley comes back, letting Adrian Sampson take one of his starts, give him a little time to or give him a piggyback start with an Adrian Sampson. Give him the start, but then tell him, you're only going 4 innings today. So you can give it your all early on. You can, they're just going to have to be careful with him because he's never thrown this many innings, and Steele's the same way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I get some people who are on the fence. I totally get it from a certain standpoint. But, man, when he's got it going, he's got it going. We've seen it. Did against the Braves, did against the Dodgers. Honestly, he's just been doing it all year in general. Sure, yeah, it hasn't always been perfect, but yeah, these last 2 not great. I think to me, the big part of it has been the walks.
Yeah.
That was the thing in the last start, and 3 walks today. It's not like he had 5 or 6. If it was 5 or 6, it'd be a lot more alarming.
Joe Girardi said it. I mean, like, they hit home runs, so you can't give them the walks, especially with the wind blowing out.
For sure. And that McCutchen one, I think probably goes out, whether that wind's blowing
that
in or
hurt.
out or whatever.
That hurt my Maverick vibes for Keegan. It was the guy that he plunked.
But Woodit Dong said that would only have been a homer at Wrigley Field, nowhere else. So I'm just stating what the Twitter account said. Facts only.
Right. It did dong, but it shouldn't have donged.
Yeah.
Right.
But again, he did give up some hard contact, and there were times, like, I thought after he got through the second inning so quickly, I was like, okay, maybe he's going to settle in now. Maybe he at least gives us 5 innings today on a day like today where, anything hit hard is headed out of the ballpark. But just didn't happen. And, it is what it is. As his biggest supporter, I will also, sit here and tell you, it wasn't great, wasn't good, and he needs to be better, especially if he wants to be in the rotation next year. I think that he has shown us enough to at least be in the conversation for it. I'm also okay if you want to, if things don't go well the rest of the year, I could understand why maybe some people like him better as that, like, pitching weapon type role. But I do like him as a starter still. It would have to get really bad here over the next month and a half for me to really change my mind on it.
And I don't think it should go that far. It's like what Niren's saying on the chat with Steele, like, you maybe shut somebody down around Labor Day. Yeah. That's another way of doing it, like it's the piggyback starts, it's letting them skip a start, it's just shutting them down and letting some of those minor league guys come up and take those opportunities and say, you know what, Steele and Thompson, you've had very, very good seasons. We know you're part of the rotation next year. We like what we've seen from you. Some other guys are going to get opportunities. We want to start your off season early. We want to let you get a little bit extra rest, and then you can start your program up even earlier if you want to. So there's ways to do it, and they got to be careful. That's all I'm saying. Just like don't push them too far.
Absolutely. Yeah. We say that, but then also, like, Justin Steele, it just feels like he's just getting better and better.
I agree. Well, if you don't see signs, like you might be seeing signs of Keegan Thompson getting tired.
Right.
You might be seeing signs of Keegan Thompson starting to get a little dead arm because he's never thrown like this before.
True.
You haven't seen it as much in Steele, but you're going to be mindful of it for each start going in, kind of looking for those signs. So I just say keep an eye on it. By the way, you pointed it out before the show started. Mark Leiter Jr. struck out a side.
Ooh.
And I had to get the mister out. This is a little personal air conditioner behind the glove that you can't see.
Feels good on my leg. Yeah.
And I was like, Cody, don't make me get the spritzer bottle out. I thought Cody was going to try and say, let's do a 4-year, $40 million extension with him.
Okay. Don't okay, you dare do that. Don't. I know what you do, Maverick.
He didn't say it. I'm just saying. Sorry.
I know what you do.
I didn't mean to put words in your mouth, but I was thinking that, like, let's not everybody get all excited about Mark Leiter Jr. striking out the side. Like, that doesn't mean he needs a big deal. He doesn't need a Bodie deal from the team.
It was just nice to see him and Rucker both go 2 clean innings
Bodie,
today. It was so wild. Like, that's baseball for you, right? Like, every pitcher struggles today, but then Mark Leiter and Michael Rucker come in and go 1, 2, 3, and Leiter strikes out the side. Like,
right?
Like, what? I don't get it. But that's baseball for you. Rucker, I have a little bit more, I guess, hope for, because Leiter is someone who's been around the league for a while, and, like, he's one of those, like, the Cubs, like, are trying to find a diamond in the rough type situation. Like, he had some injuries, blah, 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 and, like, now they're trying to fix him in the pitch lab, and, like, he's had some okay outings. He's had some bad ones. And you can say the same thing about Rucker.
He's definitely a bullpen guy, not a starter guy.
For sure, yeah. Both of them, for sure. Like, at most,
small doses.
Middle relief reliever, on a day like today where the bullpen was going to be used a lot because Thompson couldn't go deep. Like, that's the only time I ever want to see those guys, is if it is the Cubs starter can't go deep and you just need someone to eat you some innings. Those are really the only times I ever want to see those guys pitch. But, David Ross put him out there today in high leverage in a game where it's freaking wind blowing out, runs coming across the board, and I'll give credit where credit is due. They were great.
I checked Twitter while you were talking just to see if there's some of that positivity was out there. It's not Cody that needs the cold mister. It's our friend Brendan Miller. The Cubs are only 2 wins away from being 10 games back of the Brewers and 1 week's worth of wins away from striking distance in the standings. Just keep winning.
I'm going to retweet that now.
Somebody cool off the pitch doctor. I know he's joking, but I can't even. They're not closing in on anything other than maybe 63 wins. Maybe.
I think that they're going to, if they keep playing like this, we're going to be talking about 70 wins.
Oh, wow. What was mine? What did I say their record was going to be?
You said 80 and 81 or something like that?
I said 81 and 81.
81 and 81.
It's going to be short of that.
It's going to be short of that, but they have 51 now. We're in mid-August. I don't know. Anything can happen, Stuckey. But 12 wins to get to 63.
Heard a lot of people saying like 69 wins probably.
At least it'd be nice.
Be nice to get that many. So you want to tell us about your bets because you were really banking on one of my guys.
Yeah, and he didn't do anything. We're going to talk about that at Who You Got, but the Cubs same game hit parlay is now 3-2 in its last 5. Luis Urias and Wilson Contreras didn't get hits. They got on base. They both walked, but did not get hits. Brutal. Anyway, made that bet on PointsBet, my favorite app, like I say every show. PointsBet Sportsbook is counting down the days until football season with a new offer every day until the season kicks off. From now until September 8th, PointsBet Power Hour will unlock a new daily offer from 12 to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. So, yeah, you can do that again tomorrow. You can do that Sunday. You can do it Monday. If you download the PointsBet app, and watch out for it. Sign up for PointsBet now using code CHGO to also get risk-free bets up to $2,000. Don't miss out on your chance to get daily access to free bets, boosted odds, and so much more now through September 8th. But that's not it. If you make a $51 or more first-time deposit, you receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content, and you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. Download the PointsBet app today and use code CHGO to take advantage of this limited time offer. Don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER for crisis counseling and referral services. One more thing, PointsBet is trying to give away $10,000. All you got to do is go retweet a tweet. So go to their Twitter account. Thank you.
Ooh, I better get on that. $10,000.
And you have to have a PointsBet account. So sign up now. Use code CHGO. Then go to their Twitter account, retweet their tweet. Boom. You might have $10,000.
Right after this ad read, I'm doing that.
Absolutely.
Think of all the aviators I could buy with that cash.
Think of all the AG1.
All the AG1 and the Owen. I got to tell you about Owen. Only what you need. Owen is a 100% plant-based protein shake that gives you nutrition that works as hard as you do. All of their products, all of them, allergen-friendly, no gluten, no dairy, easily digestible. First heard about it when I found out that Chicago Bears quarterback Justin Fields was on a plant-based diet and drinking Owen. Now Owen and CHGO have partnered up to give you this awesome offer, 20% off your first purchase at liveowen.com. That's liveown.com with the code CHGO20. Join me, Justin Fields, and others in trying Owen, only what you need. I guarantee a Maverick drinks Owen.
Absolutely.
Guarantee you Maverick drinks Owen.
Matthew Gregory, he says 30 wins to 500, baby.
Oh, wow. That's Matthew. Get the cold mister out, buddy.
Little
splash. Go into the bathroom, little splash of cold water in the face. Start your weekend with a little splash of cold water. Maybe some ice in the sink, just to, close the pores up or whatever. What'd you think of Joe Girardi on the broadcasts? There was a lot of talk about him in the chat going into it.
Yeah.
Did you like Joe Girardi? I mean, he obviously does national broadcasts. He knows baseball very well. I liked him.
Yeah. I don't have an opinion really yet. I thought that he was fine. I don't think I would want him in there as like a Dempster type, in my opinion.
They're so different. Like Dempster's the fun guy. Not that Dempster doesn't. Demp knows baseball, obviously, very well too. But he's the fun guy. I mean, he's the guy that shows up to a hockey game in a Captain America costume too.
Yeah.
So it's just different personalities.
Right. And I say that because, I don't know, to me, when they have Dempster or Sutcliffe, it's always one of them are normally in for JD, at least recently it feels like. And so then you got JD and Girardi in there, and that's 3 guys there. I don't know. I just like it better when it's 2.
It's a lot of mixing and matching. The one thing I like about Joe Girardi is that he brings that the other guys don't. And this is not, again, I love I think Dempster would be awesome every game.
Yeah.
And I love JD. But that's pitcher, Sutcliffe, pitcher. Glanville's one of my guys, love him. Another really smart guy. Joe Girardi gives you a manager's perspective, not just a former player's perspective. He can give you the X's and O's of what David Ross is thinking.
Yeah.
So that part of it I like.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing to have him on for a couple series.
I know fans are like conspiracy theorying this, but do you think any of this has anything to do with the possibility of him being a manager?
No. I don't think it has. Do I think Joe Girardi would take the Cubs job someday if it was offered to him? Yes.
Yeah.
But I also think he'd take the Cardinals job. I also think he'd take, because he grew up in Peoria, that's close,
Yeah.
I also think he'd take the White Sox job. I think there's a lot of jobs he'd be interested in Major League Baseball, and he said he wants to manage again. I don't think that's why he's doing this. I think he's like, well, I'd love to have a weekend in Chicago.
Yeah.
And the next series he's going to call is in Miami where he's living, so why not? Keeps him busy, makes a little extra cash. He enjoys doing it.
Right.
I don't think it has anything to do with he thinks that would lead to a managerial job, or that like Marquis has some hidden agenda of trying to push him. Like Marquis loves having David Ross with Boog because they're buddies. Like this has nothing to do with that. Like it doesn't make him any more likely to get the job in the future. There's nothing to connect between the two right now, other than that Joe Girardi is from here, played for the Cubs, and all the same things that we said 15 years ago when people were saying he was going to be the next Cubs manager.
Perhaps.
I like having him as a broadcaster.
Yeah.
Just I'm not saying like he needs to do it every day.
Yeah.
Would he be great every day? Yes, but so is JD.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of fans, or just my own friends or whatever, when they ask me like, what do you think of like Marquis, just like kind of like it's like it always used to be Lynn and JD, and then we assume when Boog came in that he was just going to do every game with JD except on days that he had ESPN. And it's been
that's how
different.
they promote that. First of all, this is how they promoted it. They said joining the Marquis staff when all these guys first came out and they launched it were Plesac, DeRosa, Lou Piniella, Doug Glanville, Ryan Dempster, and it was like, whoa, they're going to have all those guys on the postgame show? Like, I'm thinking at one time, were they going to have like a panel of 15? And it's like 10-game deals for each guy, and it's just kind of for a weekend, some guys come in. It's a more national feel is the way they're kind of going. I personally, if you have the right guy, like one guy, and then somebody filling in every once in a while, but it's just a different way of doing it. I do think it's a little bit of maybe an East Coast or national feel, whereas the Cubs are. We've grown up wanting that one guy, whether it was Steve Stone, Harry Carey, Pat Hughes. Like, people fall in love with the Chicago broadcaster. I do think it's hard to do that when you bring them in and I like all of those guys. Like, Plesac's one of my favorite people on the planet. But it's difficult when you do them like every 10 games, somebody else is coming in and doing it. That said, maybe it's a different perspective, but it makes it difficult for those guys to really zone in like JD can, because JD's with them more often than the other guys.
Right. I guess I'm just very
thing.
whatever at this point with it. That's how I feel about whenever Dempster is in there, that's how I feel when Sutcliffe is in there. Even though I also
if they were really good though, if the Cubs were in a pennant race, how would you prefer to have it? Would you prefer to have it a different guy every other series, or would you prefer to have that JD person, whoever that might be? Maybe it's JD. Be that person that you ride the season out with, and you really get connected.
If they were in a pennant race, I would want to see Boog and JD more often than not. But that also is me.
I think Cubs fans feel that way a little bit.
Yeah, that's just me as the fan who listened to Lynn and JD in 16 and in 15. Like, it was always the same guys every time. Like, I don't even like. I guess if there's anyone that I'm like that I wouldn't mind if they did, like if JD or if Boog were to, if they had other things they had to do that day, I don't mind Pat Hughes being in there or Ron Coomer. And that's because like it's the same thing when I listen to radio. Like, I want to hear those two guys on radio. You know what I mean? Right. So like I don't mind those two, but like the other guys, like I said, like Sutcliffe, Dempster, Girardi, whatever. Like they're very whatever to me. I don't have an opinion about it. It's just more of they're fine. Like I will say that Girardi was fine. Like I didn't think he said anything bad. He's prepared. He was prepared. He knows baseball. When I talk good about Sutcliffe, I like that he's a little bit of a homer. And I also love that he'll criticize you when you fuck up too. Like I love the energy that he brings when the Cubs are playing well, and like it does make the broadcast a little bit more fun. And it's like, okay, like I'm for me personally, like I like that. Some people don't want that. I get that. So in a way, I can understand why they're like switching off all the time and stuff like that with different guys, but. If the Cubs were good and were in a pennant race, I would probably want Boog and JD more often than not. And if it was like a big series like Cardinals or something like that, and they're both in the pennant race, sure, you want to bring Sutcliffe and Dempster or Girardi in there, fine. But more often than not, I want the two guys that I know.
Right. Okay. I mean, I think that's fair. I'd be curious what everybody kind of feels like that. I'm sure we'll talk about it a lot in the off season. We've started to get a feel of what Marquee is doing. When I say the national thing, I mean, Boog is obviously a very high-level play-by-play guy. It doesn't have as much of a Chicago feel when he says the Air and C show like 3 or 4 times.
Gosh.
That's when it starts to at times not feel as warm and local. He is, don't get me wrong, he's like awesome. He's a great play-by-play guy. But that's when also when the rotating cast sometimes amplifies that, because Boog will go do national games and things like, he's not always there, and he didn't grow up with the Cubs or watching the Cubs. He's a baseball fan. Yeah. And people from Chicago know it's the Air and Water show,
right? Lynn didn't.
No, he didn't. But he was doing it more on a more consistent basis than Boog was, I think.
Yeah. See,
and he was in. Yeah.
I was a kid when Lynn started, so like I don't have the memory to say if I liked him at the beginning or not. But I just remember when he came in, and I was like, this doesn't sound like the guys that I have been listening to. Again, I was a kid, so I didn't know, and I was like, okay, this is different. But the time when people are gonna really get up for Boog or get excited, like say that they love having Boog as the broadcaster, is when the Cubs are good again and there's a big moment and he has a call that people remember.
Agreed.
That will be when people are like, oh, I love having Boog as the broadcaster. People love JD because he's been around for so long. You know what I mean?
It's like, it is very much like Len. I see Jack R saying Len became one of us. As the team got better, you get more attached to that voice,
right?
Being associated
like
with
Pat
things
Hughes too.
100%. You associate it more with winning and good vibes as opposed to trade deadline sell-offs and bad vibes. So give him a chance. Like the Air and C show thing is a simple fix. It's the producer in his ear after one time be like, Air and Water show here in Chicago. Like, I mean, it's not. Yeah. And then it doesn't happen again. And so what?
Right.
Like, I don't want to get all freaked out about like one thing. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when
I'm not someone
after like 3 times I was like, okay, that's a little bit of an East Coast feel to it.
Overall, I'm not someone who complains about a broadcast booth as much as I was when I was younger. for example, I used to really loathe Joe Buck. I never thought that he was like bad at his job. I just hated whenever I was a kid and Fox would put him and Tim McCarver on.
And you associated them with the Cardinals,
right? And they would put Cubs Cardinals on those Fox Saturday games, and I would get. That's honestly like the main reason why I loathed Joe Buck because of like my scars as a kid. But I've always thought he was at least like talented at what he's as the play-by-play guy.
I agree. I used to hate Joe Buck, but as I've gotten older and I can appreciate
very
it,
smooth.
He's got some amazing calls. Like some of the
I mean, his
best.
call for
some of my friends are
we
like
will
really
see
good
you
friends
tomorrow
with him.
night. Like just some unbelievable calls.
His call for the World Series in Game 7 was great.
Fantastic.
It was. Like, people don't want to admit it, but it was. So basically what I'm getting at is like, again, with the whole Girardi thing, like, yeah, it's fine. He's fine.
Yeah.
I would prefer the Cubs to just use like their main two guys more often than not, and every now and then bring in these different former Cubs in or whatever for like, for whatever reason. But they do it a lot, especially this year. And I don't know if it's because the Cubs aren't good or whatever, and they're trying to entertain. Right. But to me, I just rather have the two guys, Boog and JD.
And some of the chats talking about the producer remark makes it like. Don't take that the wrong way. Like, I know the producer that's doing the games, and I've worked with him before. Great guy, great producer. Mm-hmm. So it's just not that. It's about, I think if people have a knock on the game product, it's that it's not as consistent as it has always been. And so that makes it uncomfortable sometimes for people. When you get used to something one way, the next way, especially in television, is very difficult to get people to sort of buy into that for a while. And so they may change their mind after a couple of years. Who knows? Like, I don't know. They changed their mind on the suit and ties.
Right. I also don't think anyone, like, hates Boog.
Nope.
I think it's very, like, whatever right now.
He's great. That's not what I'm saying. It's like it's a style that they are going for that they may or may not reconsider down the line. I don't know. Maybe everybody will start to love it, but it's a little mixed reaction so far.
For sure.
Hey, by the way, Chicago, you've already got the best coverage for your favorite team, so now get fitted for the best sports gear around, too. Foco's got you covered from Soldier Field to the north side, south side, hoodies, slippers, signs, bobbleheads, everything in between. Get decked out like DeMar with apparel from the leader in sports merch and collectibles. It is Foco. Looking for that perfect gift for the football fan in your life? Foco's got you covered with hoodies to fight that Lake Michigan breeze. Check out Foco.com or click the link in the description below for all non-presale items. Use the promo code CHGO for 10% off. You might find a Joe Girardi bobblehead in there, by the way.
Ooh, I wonder if that Matt Schwarmer one is still there.
Swarm Dog still available.
That's just the collector's item, man.
Yes, exactly.
Give it to your kid one day and be like, this guy was the greatest player to ever play.
That's right. Speaking of the greatest ever, the man who walked out of the corn in Iowa.
Oh.
Ryan Herrera has joined us with his Field of Dreams hat and a
Hawaiian.
Friday Fun Hawaiian shirt.
He's vibing.
Ryan, before we get started, I just want to say I again parked in the same spot yesterday that you so graciously told me about a couple nights ago. So I'm forever indebted to you for your secrets about Monroe Street, and next time you can have the spot.
You know what? That's big of you. That's big of you. Yeah, man,
I was looking. I forgot you were in the ballpark today. I was gonna give it up for you.
As I say, do I wish you would have moved out of the spot yesterday and let me park there? Sure, but you know what? Big of you. We're even.
All right, Maverick.
I do want to.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is Maverick over there?
Yeah.
Thank you. I just wanted to give you a heads up that I'm only answering to Maverick today.
Okay.
Just wanted to, if you weren't in on the pregame show, you were working hard there in the press box. Yes, I am only responding to Maverick today. Not Steve, not Stuckey. Not
His
Luke.
vibe is much different, and I actually enjoy it. I wish he was Maverick every day.
And I have a theme song. Next time you're here, you'll hear it. Like I'm asking for this theme song when I walk into the studio. It's the beginning of Top Gun. The bell tolls, and then the guitar riffs start going. That's what I'm sort of asking for. I know it's a little high maintenance, but
yeah,
when you're Maverick, that's what you ask for. So
Absolutely.
what was the vibe like after the 4th straight Cubs win, hottest team in baseball right now for the last 4 days?
Yeah, excited. I would say, like, obviously everyone's happy after a win, especially a game like this. Wind blowing out, home runs going out everywhere. It's a good day to be a hitter, and a lot of the guys obviously had good days. But I mean, yeah, at that point, it's like when you have Christopher Morel hitting the go ahead home run to the game winning home run. Actually, Seiya and Franmil starting things off early in the game, bouncing those off the wall. I mean, it's just like a very overall good day at the plate for the Cubs. Pitching was maybe a little bit shakier. I know Keegan talked about, he's not making excuses about just it was hitting weather today. Again, wind blowing out. He said that just not making the pitches, the things that he's working on and doing well in between starts, just haven't been translating over to the game in game. And so that's, maybe the fact that he's getting up there in innings, career high innings. I don't have it off the top of my head, but I know he's either near it or has already passed it. So obviously that doesn't help. But he's not using that as an excuse, but definitely I think there's kind of nearing the end of the season that you might be seeing a little bit of that fatigue as the kind of grind of the season has gone on. Obviously he's had good health the whole year, so he hasn't had much of a break. So there's that, but the bullpen kind of picked them up a little bit. I think it was Castro gave up a couple, but then Rucker and Leiter and Hughes come in and kind of shut things down. That was a good day for the bullpen for the most part. I know I said it in our Slack, but I have to believe the chat has already imploded because Mark Leiter Jr. struck 3 people out. Because was it Monday, Cody, that we were talking that the whole chat was, as soon as we hopped on, it was something about DFAing Mark Leiter.
McKinstry didn't play today, so the chat didn't have anything to say about him.
You know how I know I'm Maverick?
You mean VR Junior? Sorry, McKinstry. I thought we're calling him VR Junior now.
I've confirmed that I am Maverick. I just tried to do the Face ID on my phone, and with the aviators on it, it didn't recognize.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I kept getting distracted. During my last answer because I kept looking over at you with your shades on, and I had to look away.
Intimidated. You were like, "Whoa!" It's like the top fighter pilot and all of Top Gun.
Yeah. That's
Ryan,
should we read the super chat real quick?
Yeah, I was going to say super chat, $2. Gerard Thomas says, "I like Girardi's analysis from a winning manager." All right, thank you for the super chat.
Yeah, $2
$2 on $2 Friday. Appreciate that.
Jack R also says since the deadline, Leiter has been as good as any reliever they traded at the deadline.
Oh wow!
And I just went to look it up just to see.
Facts, FAX.
It is facts, FAX. He has a 1.86 ERA since the beginning of August. So, I mean, it's only 5 appearances, but again, he's good at his role. But he also can really just piss me off. So.
But they might get him in the lab for the offseason and continue to turn him into another. I don't know.
He's going to be a whatever guy for however long.
Ryan, we were talking about Keegan and his start and Steele with the innings and all that. And Keegan's had kind of 2 in a row. And I know he didn't make any excuses. Has the question started to come up yet about innings for those guys this season, especially Keegan, and the possibility of how the Cubs might handle that the rest of the season?
Yeah, I mean, that sort of has gotten brought up today with Ross, and I know, it's not like there's a sense that they need to shut him down or anything. But I think that's just a general thing, is when young pitchers like this are really getting up there and innings with, still 6.5, 7 weeks, whatever it is left in the season, they have to make it. They have to make it to a week into October. I know Ross kind of talked about kind of taking those kind of things into consideration, making sure he's healthy. I don't, we talked about it yesterday on the show. I don't see right now there being him for sure going to a 6-man rotation, but that could be, again, revisited. Pushing guys back a day or two, that could be revisited. I know, Ross Ross kind of discussed that, and knowing he's aware that these guys are starting to get up there in those innings, and just kind of being conscious about deploying them, how much he uses them, how often, where they're at. Like if even though Keegan was only at 71 pitches today, he was kind of working hard a lot there. I think even the last game, same thing, just kind of working hard really early. And I think that's why when Ross, I think Keegan could get up to the 90, 100s already this season. He already has, but when he's working that hard that early, I think it was 70 pitches on Sunday or whatever day it was, and 71 today. Ross came out and no hesitation goes to the bullpen because he could see, even though he's a lower pitch count, he's already working hard. So I think he's just going to be conscious of making sure he's paying attention to what these guys, how they're feeling out there, how they're looking, how they feel in general, health wise, all that kind of stuff. I think that's going to be more of a priority as far as managing. As a manager, right there you go. That's as far as managing how they finish the season. That's going to definitely be a talking point and something he pays attention to.
How about Nick Madrigal? Stock up.
That's your guy.
Everybody stock up.
Yeah, come on, guys. Like
does Madrigal know that you're that he's your guy? Like, you should just tell him that.
I talked to him. I've always had faith. I think we just kind of, he knows. I don't have to tell him. He just kind of knows. He can feel it.
Right. It's like Cody and Justin Steele. There's just like
exactly
a brainwave that goes back and forth.
Exactly.
Sure.
No. Yeah. Again, we talked to Nick after the game, and again, it's just a lot of feeling better. Getting into a better rhythm, getting just healthy. I think it's been a little over 2 weeks since he returned from the IL, which he was on there for like over a month, something like that. It really is just about being healthy. Yeah, getting consistent at bats, getting playing in the leadoff or hitting in the leadoff spot, like that's huge for him. He's getting the most at bats on the team, and he did well today. I know there's been some hitless games in the last week, and you want the results over the last 6 or so weeks to be as good as they can be. But I think right now it's just where you're kind of not worried about, but like the main thing should be him getting fully back into that rhythm, or moving further away from this injury, and having days like today. Was it 3 for 4? I believe 3 for 5, something like that. 3 for 4. Having days like today where he's just putting the ball in play, even if it's on the ground, getting out of the box quickly. I mean, the back or the groin, whatever it is, those are 2 injuries had this year. You see him sprinting to first to beat out that first single to lead off the bottom of the first. Like that's kind of just an example that he's feeling good, right? No issues getting out of the box and sprinting down to first. So, I think it's just he's feeling in a better rhythm at the plate, and especially for a guy whose whole thing is being able to be consistently put the ball in play and trying to make some magic happen. Just being in a good rhythm like he is right now is the best thing for him, and you saw it with the 3 hits today.
Yeah, he bounced back because the last couple of days he'd gone 0 for. So many people are either out or in. I'm just very whatever right now. I don't think he should stop the Cubs from, I don't think he should be a reason from the Cubs not pursuing one of the top, shortstops on the market in free agency. I also think that if you do something like that, I still think he has some value on this team. It's just it'd be in a bench role, and I just don't know how he would play in a role like that. So maybe you can flip him if he plays well the rest of the year. There's some value. I don't know. It's tough.
Again, it depends on what all the other moves are in the offseason, too. It's like I see the chat saying, hey, if Horner was my shortstop and Madrigal's still my second baseman going into next season, I'm fine with that. Yeah, I am too. If Aaron Judge has been added to the lineup,
or if they sign,
or if Correa's playing third.
Yeah, I was gonna say, or if Correa moves, they get Correa and he's at third, or if it's Bogarts or whoever. Like I'm just saying, like they gotta get someone of that caliber if Nick Madrigal is going to still be at second base every day next year. I might think differently if he had played well. I might think differently if he had played half as well as Nico Horner has this year. and he hasn't even done that.
He just hasn't been
and
available.
he hasn't been healthy.
Should we get rid of who you got, or in today's case, according to Avi's shirts, top Cub?
Top Cub, yes.
Top Cub for today.
That's what we're calling it.
Ryan,
Yes.
you had.
What?
This
I
is
still
wrong.
have the wrong
still.
graphic.
You had Seiya.
I had Seiya.
Joey got all
Reyes.
messed up today.
I got all messed up.
I threw him off at the
We're
top.
getting
gun
pretty
vibes.
lax with the who you got picks. It's like, we're like it's more talked about now.
Joey needs it in a single email. This is who we're taking.
My
We're just
guy-
kind of throwing it around verbally around the newsroom.
I got Cody saying, "Put the tweet up." I'm like, "What tweet?" During pregame, like, come on, you guys are throwing all the curveballs at me.
We threw a bunch of tweets in the Slack channel.
So I had Contreras.
That's why I said that. Sorry.
I had
I'm
Contreras.
joking, I'm joking.
Cody had Franmil, and you had Seiya.
Seiya.
Yeah.
And what was Seiya's line today? Is he had one RBI?
He had an RBI double. He got hit by a pitch.
1 for 3. 1 for 3 RBI double, hit by pitch. Only 1 strikeout.
Okay, Franmil RBI triple, which, by the way, he is confirmed to be faster than Miggy Montero currently is. We have proven that. The big man can move, but he did strike out 3 times.
Ooh.
So 3 strikeouts and a triple. Now, Contreras reached base by walk, which is better than getting hit because you're at least showing the discipline,
Here we
obviously.
go. Here we
And he also had an RBI.
a sack fly, right?
And he played the toughest position on the field. He was a catcher.
Oh my God!
Get
Look at
outta here.
Stucky. Look
So-
at
The way-
this.
the
Isn't
way
Maverick
he tries-
anymore. This isn't Maverick
No.
anymore.
I'm saying, like, I don't know. It's between me and Cody up here. Like, 1 or 2, I don't know yet. Then it's Joey.
Everybody had an
Then it's
RBI,
Maverick.
correct? Everybody had an RBI. So it's about the other stuff
Sure.
if we're looking at this correctly. Cody had a triple, which is better than your double and better than my walk, but he also had 3 strikeouts.
And Seiya reached base twice. And only
So
struck out
that
once.
sucks the value down on Franmil. Now, he did have the excitement value. That's probably the most excited the ballpark was all day was his triple, other than the Morel homer, was Franmil making it to third base. I think it's a
And
point. I think it's a point for everybody today.
I did
think
think
it's just
that
a,
Seiya yelled "fuck" really loud too. If you want to use that after he got hit by a pitch, And I
Seiya
thought
got
that was
plunked
funny.
and had a
Nice.
double.
Cody, I think me and Cody can both get a point on this one.
Whoa, 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 whoa. You don't leave Maverick out of this. This is either 3 or nothing.
Joel has
No.
said, "Get the spray bottle, Cody."
This is either 3 or nothing. This is either we're all in or we're all out. Maverick's not doing the flyby without
This
goose
isn't
and ice,
Maverick,
okay?
This is Stucky.
Without goose and ice, Maverick's not flying by and buzzing the tower.
Oh,
That's
God.
not the way this works.
Oh man, we might sit here and bicker
No.
about this for another hour if we have to.
No.
Everybody
no
gets
hits
a
like
point.
that.
Everybody
I-
should get a point.
I can't agree with it.
What'd the guy say in the
Cody,
chat
Cody.
yesterday? This old guy trying to steal one, huh?
Yeah. Joey, we can't decide. I'm letting you make the decision because we know Jason Hayward did not play. So
Now,
he
again,
lost too.
listen to the facts. FAX. Contreras, RBI, walk, toughest position defensively.
RBI and walk.
Yes.
I'm going to say right now, I don't even
No,
remember who
it's-
everyone took. I knew that was Stucky because he's throwing in hardest position on the field.
Everybody had an RBI.
Okay.
We had a double for an RBI.
So
we
wait,
had a triple for an RBI, and we had a
Contreras, then Seiya, who
Seiya
had the
an
big
RBI
double
and
off
was-
the wall.
and was hit by a pitch.
Okay.
So he was
for
on base
3,
twice.
RBI on base twice.
And
Okay.
Reyes, who had what should be probably the best day, the triple RBI for his base hit, but he also had 3 strikeouts and didn't play defensively.
It's close. I think it's either Seiya or split a point between Seiya and Reyes. I
Oh,
definitely
come on.
think Contreras
Oh,
is not
come
in the
on,
argument
come on.
here.
Hold on. Joey, call it.
He called it. I told Joey he gets to decide.
I call it on the
Yeah,
air right now.
Matthew Gregory, you just stay
Right
out
now.
of this.
Right now. Who gets the point?
I used to like you, Matthew
Let's
Gregory.
go with we'll split the point between Seiya and Franmil. That was he got
So do we
the
each
So
crowd.
get half point?
everybody's getting a point except
Do we
for
not
Maverick?
split points anymore? Do you each
No,
get
we've
1
never
point?
split points.
Okay, sorry.
Just
Seiya,
one.
Seiya's the winner.
We've each
I
given
say
a
nobody gets a
point.
point.
Right, so you each get a point today.
Oh,
This
okay.
was a Morel game. I say nobody gets a point.
No.
That's what Maverick says.
I thought Seiya and Franmil were both good today.
Like my RBI
Congratulations,
and
Ryan.
walk didn't even count.
Joel is back. How many
I tell you
times
what
do we have to
happened.
teach you a lesson, old man?
Here's what happened.
How many times do we have to teach you, old man?
Here's what really happened, okay? The old guy went on vacation. And he went in on vacation on an absolute heater, like 4 out of 5 straight wins. He reaches first place in a tie. He goes on vacation, and all the punks, they all gang up on him while he's gone. And they're like, we can't let the old man make us look bad. And who you got? And so despite the fact that I'm sending in winning picks like Stroman with 0 earned runs, they're ignoring it on Slack. They're ignoring it on Slack. And ever since I've come back, my ideas have been totally ignored. Totally ignored. And Joey being the youngest of the group, chimed in on it.
This lesson, old man.
Oh, man. Love it.
I'm sorry. That was
This is
such a
ageism.
good. That was a great line
This is
drop by
ageism, and
Joel.
if we had an HR department, I would take it to them.
We do have an HR department,
do?
and Lawrence will be. I don't know what that is. It's still playing though.
Is it
We
Lawrence
do have an
Benedetto?
HR department. Lawrence will be in on Monday. You could talk to him in the HR office, which is the parking garage.
I will talk to Law Dog about this on Monday.
Stucky, no one told you to go on vacation. You did that yourself, so
And I didn't tell you to go to on vacation to Wisconsin, of all places.
says
True.
the guy who was up there like 3 weeks ago for a wedding in a salmon sport coat.
It wasn't. I
on,
didn't use PTO vacation days. That's all I'm saying.
Come on.
fair.
I went on a
Sorry.
weekend when we're off.
I Cody,
I stuck up for Ryan today when the DNVR and PHNX guys were trying to say we weren't the first international podcast. I said, our guy went to Iowa. Get more international than that.
Nothing more international than that, brother.
Yeah, we got
man, I see
DNVR
that.
Nuggets are in Serbia right now. You know,
We went to Iowa.
Bulls crew could be going to Paris. Yeah, Ryan gets to go to Dyersville though.
We
So
went to
who's the real?
Dyersville,
Who's the
and we
real
had
winner?
One of our chat members come in from the UK.
Yeah.
That's international.
Cody,
Yes.
what are the scores now?
20 to 17 to 14 to 1 to 1.
See what I mean? It was 17 all, and now all of a sudden it's 20 to 17. There's an asterisk along the side of this until reviewed by Lawrence. Until
one-
HR reviews this.
Year one of Who You Got already has an asterisk on it, according to our fearless leader here. I don't know about that one. I don't know about that.
And PS5
Oh, and-
that
and I
live.
forgot the
Let me
one
tell you,
for
if you
Rachel.
offer me the senior discount, I will take it. Right now, I'm getting no respect to from the elders. Elders deserve the respect. All right, Cubs win. Anything else you want to say, Ryan, before we hit this hot weekend with Stroman on the mound and then Steele to wrap it up against the Brewers?
Any
Anything?
injury updates? There was nothing
anything
pregame that was said. I don't think. If there was, I missed it.
Yeah, it was. I know Kyle Hendricks is still here. He hasn't gone out to Arizona, I believe, is kind of the update. But he's going out there sometime this week, probably so relatively soon. Still kind of figuring out that schedule. It's kind of, we talked about it, but it's kind of cutting it close, right? Like it feels like, I don't know, best case scenario, he's able to pitch at the end of the year, but it kind of feels like it's gonna, like there may not be another Kyle Hendricks start this year. I guess we'll see and see how he recovers and how he bounces back and sees this, this throwing program whenever they kind of get it going, see how his shoulder responds. But it's starting to get kind of late in the season for a Kyle Hendricks return. As far as Wade Miley, he's throwing a bullpen session today. I think he threw a bullpen session today, and they're going to kind of figure it out from there. I want to say he threw, was it 5 innings? Is that what we said? 5 innings the other day? I think it was on like Tuesday or something like that. So he's still kind of, I think it's getting closer to the end. We didn't really get any word on how that bullpen went. So hopefully, Jared's going to be in tomorrow and Sunday. So hopefully they'll get an update on that. And then we'll kind of figure out where Wade Miley kind of fits into the picture for the last month and a half of the season. But he threw a bullpen today from what we were told, or was scheduled to at least. And kind of the Cubs plan just kind of is going to go from there.
Any news on Albert Alzolay? Someone Nick G's asking in the chat.
I mean, Adbert is last I remember we talked to it was Jed a couple weeks ago, Jed Hoyer. He's still kind of just throwing like a throwing program out there in Arizona. I remember seeing, I think Rich Beasterfield had a picture of him. I believe it was a picture of him throwing to Brennan Davis out there in Arizona. I think I remember seeing reports when they were out in Cincinnati, coming out of Cincinnati, that he had thrown like 2 innings of live EP or something like that without an issue. So yeah, last we were kind of told like they're hoping to get him off the mound, like off the mound in game action, this year before the year's over. It just kind of remains to be seen if there's even a possibility of that to happen, with the Cubs. Maybe it's in the minor leagues, with one of the affiliates before their season ends, just kind of rehab assignment kind of thing. At least get him some game action before the year's over. But yeah, I mean, it will kind of see how he progresses and if he can kind of get back into game action. I mean, I think best case scenario obviously is he's able to pitch at some point to end the year. But I think it's kind of just remains to be seen if that's a possibility.
Before we go, I do want to point out that Rhonda is saying we should all get a point, and that Matthew Gregory says the committee has spoken. Maverick gets a point because it's Top Gun Day. Joey's even on the conspiracy because he's been over there back behind the cameras not posting any of these comments while Ryan's talking. None of the big, bold comments defending that I should be getting a point. None of it. Just another one of the punks.
No. Sorry, the committee is.
There it is, Rhonda. You should all get a point. And before we go, I do want to show Ryan my theme music. Can we do that again, one more time? Joey, if you can get that ready. Ryan, this is how it's. Out with that. Thank you for dropping in to check out the CHGO Cubs Postgame Show podcast presented by PointsBet. Cubs win. They beat the Brewers. 2 more coming up this weekend. We got the Cardinals next week, and we will see you for that as well. Have a great weekend, and of course, fly the W. Dab?
Yeah, I'm dabbing.
Oh my goodness.